Hey, this is Wileen Benson, and you are on the Daily Gratitude Call, where we start every day in gratitude. Gratitude is the highest energy state that we can be in. It creates a frequency of positive vibration that attracts positive experiences into our lives.
Hey everybody, this is Wileen Benson. This is our Daily Gratitude Call. Today, a lot of things were mentioned on our rounds of gratitude before we started the recording about darkness and the promise of light, making it through a long, difficult journey and being able to look back and find gratitude in the journey. The ability to choose light, have a change of heart, for repentance, a lot of things that just really felt like stepping out of the darkness into the past, or into the light. And so what we're going to focus on today, we're going to do a private meditation on gratitude for darkness past and see what comes up. So I'm going to set the timer for 90 seconds, and we're just going to have a private meditation. Just write down whatever comes to you. This is your personal inspiration on gratitude for darkness past, and we'll see what comes up. Begin. All right. Darkness past means that we're standing in the light now, if the darkness has passed. And at first I felt like a sense of relief. Oh, the darkness is past. But then I realized that when I get through a really difficult time and I'm finally, over this, things have worked out, and they always do, when things are worked out and back into good, it's almost like I forget about the past darkness, and I realize that the light is really status quo. That's where we thrive. Darkness is not where we thrive. We're not nocturnal creatures. We're not made. Our eyes don't. We can't see in the dark like a cat does. We had to invent things to be able to do things in the dark. We had to invent candles and then electric lights, or gas lights and then electric lights, and whatever, to be able to even live in the darkness. And so that's status quo just tells me that's where God intended us to be, is in the light. When we're in the darkness, it's like an uncomfortable, almost like a foreign, like an alien planet, like being underwater or something like that, where we're not really meant to live for long periods of time. I also thought of the 3 days of darkness after Christ died, that not even a candle could be lit. And it just helped to reiterate that he is the light of this world. The dark ages followed after he left the earth and God withdrew his light. And so just really tied God and Christ to light for me, and especially adding that little piece that we're meant to thrive in the light, that we're not meant to live in the darkness for long periods of time. Connecting Christ with the light really helped to add more power to that thought as well. Who else has something they'd like to share?
I would. I'm grateful to have moved on from the darkness of the past. That the darkness of the past of my childhood. I remember I remember just writing at a young age and expressing myself on paper and just hanging in there with this faith, believing there was something better and that I would have that whatever it was if I just hung on. So I'm so grateful for the promise of light I've experienced, and the darkness even of yesterday or last week, whenever it comes, there are forces that want us to be in the dark. So, and I know from past experience about hanging on and being connected, praying, and doing everything I can to be my best, to reach for that light. Even if sometimes it's just, being still. But I know that Christ is a light, like you said, and those forces of darkness want to invade our life, but we can hang on. And I'm just grateful I could get through that darkness, and that puts it in the past. I hope that makes sense.
Well, thank you. I envisioned standing in a cell with some bars and some light coming through the bars. A lot of times, not a lot of times, but there are times when people are trapped in the dark and they don't really have the freedom. Like you were saying, as a child, you don't a lot of times have the freedom to be able to step fully into the light, but you can look to the light and you can hold on to that promise of light. And especially when we know Christ is the source of all light, that's something that we can definitely hold on to in those situations.
I might add on the tail of that, that I did not even know that God lived when I was a child. I knew he did somehow. And I just instinctively knew that he had to be there, and that he was greater and brighter than what I knew. So even without knowing, I knew and still hoped anyway. For those
Beautiful.
who maybe don't, who feel the same way.
I believe that we all have the light of Christ within us, and that's proof right there. Thank you. Who else has something they'd like to share?
Michael.
Hey, Michael.
Yes. I was at the temple yesterday working, and I saw a woman. She was sitting in the. She was sitting in the what? She was sitting in a car, and I drove up and asked, because it was a time where volunteers come in and help. And I just said, hey, are you lost trying to come in? And she said no. But she had tears in her eyes. And I felt an immediate bond in a sense, because I felt her pain when I saw her face. And it reminded me of mine back when I was married. And I thought, isn't that interesting? We chose that today, darkness past. And to me, darkness past was to have a deep emotion or feeling towards something. And that deep emotion and feeling is, the darkness comes because you're not seeing what you really feel and believe come to pass. or come to fruition. So the feelings of joy come when actually the things you think should happen are now happening, and you can't believe that it ever happened. And so, to me, that darkness past, I think of the joy of coming out of the pain into the light, into the joy. And
Beautiful.
either that or you've learned that you were going to do something wrong and somebody has actually helped you choose another direction.
Beautiful. Thank you. There are several things that I pulled out of that. First of all, compassion. That, you saw this woman and went to her, saw the tears in her eyes, and you immediately felt an immediate bond in the pain that she was experiencing, that compassion. And I'm sure that a big part of that was because you had experienced pain in the past. So it was like empathy, that you were feeling because you had had some darkness in the past. And so what value our pain is when we can have compassion for someone else when they're in the middle of their pain. So thank you. Gosh, I'm feeling it right now. And then the other thought that I had when you said that it said not seeing, we put ourselves in darkness when we're not seeing the light. The light's always there. Christ has promised us that he was always there. He always has his hand outstretched. And if we focus on the darkness and don't see the light, it's just as if we are sitting in the light. And I love that, the emotions that you mentioned about joy when we see the light, that joy comes. Thank you. Is there somebody else?
I'd like to share. Yeah, I'd like to share. What I saw was like a very dark passage, and that faith and hope are lanterns in the dark. And that I remember how other people held up that lantern for me. And that now I have a choice. I can just, happily stay in the light with my happy friends, or I can actually choose to go back enter into, find my brothers and sisters, be with them, offer a light, and walk with them if, they choose to take the light and walk out. But also knowing that there is choice. Darkness is always there, and it's always available. And I can't choose for another. If they want to stay in pain and hard times, that I can have compassion and just keep offering light, but I cannot have my happiness tied to my attachment that someone else is going to take that opportunity. But just to keep loving. It takes so much courage to keep loving people who choose hard and choose dark and choose stuck. That's, I think, a gigantic challenge. Because Mary, when I was in my childhood, I knew my path out of suffering was to leave home, leave my family, find a better way. And so, there's this real tug-of-war. Will I love the people that I love and be in pain with them and be in darkness, or will I leave? And so now I have choice where I can still love, still be connected. That's a lot. I don't know if any of that makes sense, Wileen.
Yeah, I caught the meaning within it. So thank you. And you are really an example of that, of finding your way out of the dark passage, and then for a time happily staying in the light without staying outside of the darkness of the family situation that you have. And then I've also seen you, especially in the last couple of months, going back, taking the lantern back into the darkness to shine the light within the family, and but no agenda. need for them to choose the light, but just that you're feeling the call to go back and shine the light and to keep, sharing that unconditional love. And that's and we don't have any, choice in or any idea of how they're going to receive that light or if they're going to receive that light. That's not our choice. But definitely we have the choice to shine the light back into the dark passage. So thank you. Once we have found the light, I think a lot of times people try to lift up while they're still in the darkness, and the darkness kind of encompasses everybody at that point. But once we found our way out, and can definitely take that lantern back and shine light into the darkness. Thank you. Any last thoughts before we shift over to our permission process? All right, let's go ahead and take a deep breath and just get a sense right now of where you are with regard to the light and the dark, and whether you see that as a passage or if you see that as the darkness before the dawn, whether you see it as a choice that, maybe you have chosen to be in the darkness in some way. You haven't wanted to be rescued for whatever reason. You're receiving some benefit from being a martyr or, being stuck. Maybe it's in alignment with your limiting beliefs and you feel like it's keeping you safe. Whatever it is, just allow yourself to see and feel where you are right now in relation to the light. Maybe your darkness has passed. Maybe you have stepped out into the light and you're feeling the joy of being in the light once again, and the vitality that light brings us. And maybe you've been in the light for a while and you're contemplating taking your light back into the darkness. So wherever you are, to shine the light for others, and wherever you are, just honor that space and be grateful for it, grateful for the play of light and dark, the opposition of it, the amazing contrast that helps us to feel that range of emotions that is available to us. And the first question I have for you is, do you now, in this moment, have the choice to step into the light? And it's possible that the answer is no, so be okay with that. But be okay with whatever the answer is. Is it possible right now, just listening intuitively, is it possible right now for you to step out of the darkness into the light? Could that be a possibility for you right now? And whatever your answer is, just look within that answer for any limiting beliefs that might be showing up. If you're feeling any kind of low vibration emotion or fear, anything based in fear, all emotions that keep you in the darkness are based in fear. And so if there are any emotions, we know that there is a limiting belief. And so just look within that feeling of fear, that darkness, and say, what is this attached to? And maybe even you're standing in the light, and maybe there's a fear emotion of going back into the light, or can I stay in the light? Whatever those fear emotions are, just ask, what is the limiting belief attached to this emotion? And as you're getting clear with what that limiting belief is, I invite you to examine the cost of it. What's the cost of keeping that limiting belief? What will the outcome be if you hold on to that limiting belief? And knowing what the cost is of holding on to that limiting belief, and also knowing the vitality that the light brings us, what you get to make a choice right now. You can choose to remain in the darkness, or you can choose to remain in that fear and hold on to that limiting belief and experience the cost that is attached to it. Or you can give yourself permission to step into the light. And maybe stepping into the light for you is taking your light back into the darkness. Whatever that means for you, if you are willing to give yourself permission to step into the light, say yes.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Right. And choosing that, go ahead and choose some new beliefs. What are some new beliefs that will allow you to fully step into the light, to be fully seen, to be open to receive all that is available to you in the light? And if it means going back into the light, then choose some new beliefs that will sustain you when you're in the darkness, and that will also invite others to see your light and to choose to follow you to the light. What are some new beliefs that will really empower you to authentically stand in the light, radiate the light, be the light? And now that you have created some new beliefs, I invite you to use these new beliefs to brighten your light. Just imagine as you're reading these new beliefs that you're bringing them into your body, and that with every word, every single letter of these words and the intention behind the letters and the words, that as you're bringing these into your body, that is increasing the warmth and the light that you have to offer, the warmth and the light that sustains you, and you're aligning more fully with the light that our Savior radiates, that you're becoming more like Him by bringing these words into your very being, that is increasing your light so that it's closer to the intensity and the energy that our Savior radiates. And that you are seen, that others look to you as the light, as the way, until they can find the true light, the true source of light, that they see you as a clue, as a part of their lighted path. And one last question. What is the one most important thing that you could do today that will show gratitude for this increase of light? What is the expression of gratitude, the physical expression of gratitude for your light being increased? What is one thing that you can do, your inspired shortcut to maintaining your light, to increasing it, and also sharing the gratitude that you have been able to increase your light? And we have just a couple of minutes to share while you're kind of gathering your thoughts, to see if you would like to be someone that would like to share your thoughts. Maybe this is an opportunity for you to share your light. I just want to offer for anyone that is struggling or needs a little extra support in this area to reach out to me. I always offer a 15-minute free call to anyone that would like to have a little conversation with me about something that came up during the call. And just go to AskWileen.com, and that'll take you directly to my calendar, and you can schedule a 15-minute call. And even if it's not something that came up on the call, maybe it's something that's been bothering you for quite some time. And just as I'm sharing this offer to This is a way that I share my light, is to offer to have a conversation with you for free. And so if there's some way that you've been in darkness, and that even if it just means that you've had a blind spot that you haven't been able to see of why you've been struggling so hard in your life in one area or other, let me help you to shine the light on that blind spot and be able to get past it. And just go to AskWileen.com to do that. Is there somebody that would like to share?
I really would like to share. Because this was really eye-opening. My limiting belief was others will laugh. When I'm brave, others will laugh. And I remember a particular experience I had where that happened when I was young. And so that has been an underlying limiting belief. So my new beliefs are: I am courageous in moving forward. I am comfortably courageous moving into the light. I'm fully engaged in light in my life, and I am seen for the light I am, and I am a light as I live my life.
Beautiful. Thank you. I appreciate you sharing that. I love, limiting beliefs are really awesome that way. They'll a lot of times take us back to the origin of the limiting belief if we're open to receive that, if we're courageous enough to go back into the darkness and find the root. It's really powerful to be able to let go at that level. Thank you. Any last thoughts before we end our call? Well, I'm really grateful for the opportunity that I've had to look at how I've been resisting stepping more fully into the light. I have for quite some time known that part of my journey, part of my purpose is to go into the darkness and carry my light with me and to shine the way, to show the way out to that true source, to Christ. And I've known that was part of my calling, part of my mission on earth. What came to me was standing more fully in the light. So not, because, in the past, going back into the darkness, it's, there's sort of like a comfortableness that comes when we're like, I know the way, come with me. And just going back and forth on the way that I know. And my thoughts this morning were taking me into brighter light that is unfamiliar. And so there was some fear that came up for me there. And I'm just really grateful for this call that allows me to be able to step more fully in the light, stand in the light, radiate the light, and be the light in a higher capacity. And I get to learn what that looks like and what that means. So thank you all for being on the call today. We'll look forward to being together once again tomorrow morning, 7 a.m. Mountain Time. And I want everyone to have a wonderful day and invite you to meet me back here tomorrow. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, guys. Thank you, Wileen.
Hey, thanks so much for listening, and I encourage you to tune in every day to the Daily Gratitude Call. And the Daily Gratitude Call happens live every weekday morning. We'd love to have you join. So to find out how to join live, go to my website, WileenBenson.com. Thanks for tuning in.